Well, welcome to the paddock here at Yonkers Raceway, everyone. The day after Thanksgiving back here in the States, we're pleased to welcome in one of our leading drivers, Mr. George Brennan, talk about a couple that he has for our, we'd like to call it the French trots this coming Sunday. First of all, sir, happy belated Thanksgiving to you. How's your holiday?
It was very good, Frank, and yours?
Mine was very good. Thanks for asking.
Very good, thanks.
Let's talk about a couple you have in. Obviously, you're a man in much demand. So we'll have. I don't think you have any of the 7 races off, but I want to concentrate on 2 of them because you're looking at 2 kind of in coming into these races in totally different directions. The old Pro Luminosity, post position 8th in the 12-horse Open. I looked at his race last week and I noticed that when he first did it, he trotted a sub-28 fourth quarter last week on the outside. Gave way late, but he is a hard-knocking an open handicap trotter as we've had in quite some time. What's impressed you most about him?
Just his longevity. You know, he's been going here all year now, right from the beginning. I think he came here, was actually like a non-winner's 18,000, had the inside, and I left, retook, and it's been lights out ever since that night. I mean, he's never thrown a bad race. I mean, like you said, even last week, he tried a 27 down the back and still held, you know, he had a tough trip and considerably held very tough. And another thing, he's, you know, been up against it all season long with the outside post. He gets 7 and 8 every week, and he's as fresh as he was at the beginning of me as he is now. So he's just a really top-notch horse.
When you had first driven him, not as an open handicap, did you see something to suggest that he'd be a top-class trotter?
Nope, not at that time. Like I wasn't really sure if he was as good as DW's New York Yank at that time, but he's gone on to prove that, you know, he's just every bit as competitive as he would be if he was racing here throughout the year. You
mentioned something that obviously the victor goes to spoils, if you will. 8-hole last week in an 8-horse field. Now we're back to the Overflow 12 8-horse again, but he nothing seems to bother him.
No, it doesn't. And you know, like we just talked about, he had a really rough trip last week, and he'll be ready to rock again this week. I mean, that doesn't bother him at all. Like a rough trip like that, you know, he's not the type of horse that's going to have his head down in the stall. You know, he can't wait to race again, and that's the feeling he always gives me.
Another one I want to ask you about, who's sacrilege to mention Therapeutic and Luminosity in the same breath. This is a former solid New York bred horse. He's had some issues this year. He's got a scratch line coming, so it's about a month out between this one, and it's one of those few that Ronnie Burke sends up here that you're just not quite sure what you're going to get. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's very fair. Like, you know, one thing about him, he doesn't have the gate speed like a Luminosity or anything like that, but then there's some nights where, you know, he gets behind that gate and he feels like, wow, you know, you can leave with me tonight, you know. So he kind of lets me know, you know. He's, you know, not the open trotter here, but he's a great Yonkers Raceway horse. I mean, he's got almost 100,000 made here now, and I'd sign up for one of them all day long.
Yeah. That is post 3 in the 3rd race. Yeah. You sit behind one, it's either race or requalify with a scratch line and about 4 weeks off. Does that change your approach in a race like this?
Like I said, with him, I'll know scoring down, like how he feels and stuff like that, and getting behind the gate, and, you know, how much he's into me, how his ears are up or back or something like that. But he'll let me know, and he's not going to give an embarrassing effort regardless. I know that. Okay,
George Brennan, any number of drives Sunday, a fair number for Ronnie Burke. George, thank you much. Good luck.
Frank. Yep, thank you.